the small clips. Hey, everybody. Another edition of Community Leaders Podcast, where we talk with people from around the country and people who are doing the work to position themselves as the community leader in their town. And I'm here with my co-host who is really kicking butt out there in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. She's making heads turn and she's getting all sorts of people asking questions and following her. Kelly Northley, how are you today, Kelly?
I am doing really good. Thank you. And thanks for having me on again.
You got it. Thank you for being here. We talked last week. Anything new, anything exciting? Every time I talk to you, you're jazzed up about something. You got a new idea. What's going through your mind this week?
You know what? I'm going to be brutally honest here. I've had one of those weeks where I've been working at getting this going, and there's a lot of traction happening with what I'm doing. But do you know how, I don't know, in video games, you have to like repeat things to level up? I'm like at that point, and I've said this a couple of times this week, where there's clearly something where I need to break through to get to the next level, the glass ceiling, if you will, call it what you want. But I'm like right here, and I can feel the friction. Something has to change, and I have to add something, subtract something, do something to get to the next part of this. But we are gaining a lot of traction. I've got a good bit of followers that I've gained. I think I made a post yesterday. I've gotten 500 in the last 90 days. And hopefully by the end of this year, I'll be at 5,000, which is maybe low numbers to some people. But for the community that I'm targeting, that's actually a really great number. And my engagement, my interaction, all of that is very high right now. So I'm not concerned in the slightest. But I just am feeling those shifts, and something that I'm doing it right, but something needs to give, and I need to get to that next part. So it'll be interesting to see where the next few weeks take us. It's probably a combination of like the holiday season approaching and the weather and the school and all of the things going on in life. But there's definitely a piece that I've got to figure out that is next, that I need to do to get to the next part of this. So
And I know you will. And, consistency, continually chipping away at it. Most people will see, somebody successful and be like, oh my God, that person's so lucky. They don't see the years, the weeks, the months, the years of stress and frustration that a person might go through. And I'm completely open and vulnerable when I'm about to say this. And listen, I can say this, but I can still grab you by the collar quick. You know what I'm saying? That part of me is never gone away. Just because I'm kind and nice doesn't mean that part of me has ever gone away. But yesterday I cried probably 8 times, and that was healthy. And it was purging negativity, I'm doing shadow work. You know what I mean? And I'm stepping into second adulthood, first time, but I cried because I also at the same time feel that one thing always, it's just one ingredient away from perfect and taking off. Right? Really, it's always, but I'll never forget what a friend of mine said to me. David Tall, who founded a company called Agentology, ultimately came Verse. They were funded for a bunch of money in their Series A round of funding. And I said to him, congratulations. And we got talking into the feeling of excitement and jubilation of getting there, because nobody, unless you're an entrepreneur that been down that path, nobody knows the struggle, right? And the piece of advice that he gave me that I took away from this, he said, it's a metamorphosis. What we are now is not what we started out as. And that has stuck with me through any company that I've ever been involved in, any brand that I've ever built. And heck, we're even seeing it in our own industry right now. It's going through a metamorphosis. We had the large lawsuit that settled a couple of weeks ago. Another one filed. Now there's like 15. Everybody's getting sued. Right. So the industry within itself is going through a metamorphosis. And as entrepreneurs, as the person that's out in front, we have to adjust with that. AI, technology, these types of things, time to innovation is shrinking. And what I mean by that is if we went from 1900 to 1980, we got a TV, it got turned into color, we got cable, the first cell phone came out, I had a bag phone, right? But if you look Then this thing came out, and then it's been developing and developing. And now all of a sudden they got more memory that can fit on this pinhead than these IBM computers that used to take up rooms. And so the time of innovation is shrinking. So more things are going to happen, which leads me to the point is it's so critical now, I think, to make relationships and position yourself in the community as a community leader like you're doing. Now, I know a lot of people are scared to do this. There's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, those are the drivers of the market: fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so I know there's a lot of people out there that have fear to do this. They have uncertainty about it, or they have some level of doubt. Everything else can be traced to one of those three. But you're out there doing it. What's the experience over the past couple of weeks that you've been getting, and what's the feeling that you've been having being in action?
Yeah. So I've documented exactly what I'm doing. And sometimes I realize when I go in to meet new people, they'll mention things about me that I post online and forget. I just post it and forget about it. And they're like, oh, and they'll reference it. And I'm like, wow, I didn't tell you that, but you know that because of socials, which is just kind of, it's cool to see. But the feedback that I've been getting is very positive. I have a mix now of real estate agents who are watching what I'm doing so that they can implement it, learn from it. And then, of course, my target audience of the Fond du Lac, Wisconsin area, and just getting myself out there in the area. And this is my hometown. So it's kind of funny because I think the people who are going to judge you the most are in your hometown. And I think I've said that before. So it was definitely, it was something to overcome, but I literally just stopped caring what people thought. And I just started going for it. And things are really just lined up into place. And I shouldn't even say lined up into place because it's not been easy by any means, but I've put the work in to make the things happen and put them into place. And overall, the community has been very responsive and very supportive to this. I've, of course, gotten a few people who have done the little haha laughing at me talking about the podcast. And honestly, what is wrong in their lives that they have to laugh at someone trying to do something to better the community? You know what I mean? So
yes,
we're not listening to them. We don't care what they say. But it's been amazing to see, even in a short period of time, what you can do when you just sit down and grind and get it out. And I've had other agents ask if I can help them implement this in their area. And just by me posting about what I'm doing, I've opened conversations with other agents to see what they're doing. And so I regularly have what I call agent chats. We sit and chat kind of like you and I are right now for about 30 to 45 minutes about what they're doing and what's working, what I'm doing, and we compare. And I've gotten a ton of inspiration and ideas just from that. So I've really just kind of decided not to compete with other people. I'm collaborating. I'm not competing with anyone, no matter where you are, even if you're right next to me and you're a real estate agent in my neighborhood or something, we're going to collaborate. We're going to see how we can work together and do things better instead of competing and tearing one another down. It's not even something I'm considering at this point. So
there's plenty. This is the part that cracks me up about our industry.
yeah.
And Harris and I were talking earlier today that most people in our industry aren't entrepreneurs, they're salespeople.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but don't act the entrepreneur when you're really a salesperson, right? Just don't. And when you think like an entrepreneur, not a salesperson, you realize that there's plenty out there. And that if I lift you up, that's going to lift me up. And I think that's so important. And you're making not only an impact locally with your community and making those relationships, but now other people from around the country through the power of social media are seeing you and are reaching out to you. And so you're building a following, let's call that an influencer following nationally from other agents, allowing you to engage. And I don't even know if you all are ready for what I'm about to say. I don't even know. Allowing you to engage in conversation. And every single person of great success in our industry will say that conversations equal contracts. So the more conversations that you're going to have, the more contracts you are going to write. Now, of course, that's metaphoric. It has everything to do with success. You have to talk with people. If you're not talking with people, you don't move the needle. Even if they're all online leads, you got to talk to people.
Yep.
So you're out there bringing the fight to people. You're doing good work with people. You're showing them how to create. You're showing them how to stand out. You're building an ecosystem, and we're all just a frequency. We're all just energy. And you're putting this energy out there, and it's a law of attraction, people, and you're attracting other people who want to be part of that energy. So the people who laugh and the people who snicker and the people who are condescending online, fuck them. That's all I can say about that, because I do not care about anybody's opinion of me. It's not mine to know. I get haters all the time too, and I kill them with kindness. I like to say, hey, thank you for your comment. We're trying to do good things for the community, help small businesses and charities, and we need volunteers. Can I count on you?
Yep.
Because the answer is going to be no. So I kill them with kindness and I make them look like a fool and I walk away. That might be a little bit part of my shadow that I let play.
I just think it's been incredible to see how, when you start putting yourself out there and you start just trying to genuinely help people, you really do attract the right people. And I've not been afraid to use like the block button, the unfollow button. I know that might sound frivolous to some people, but I don't have time for negativity. So we're just going to move on from that. That's okay if you don't see it, if you don't like it, but we're going to move on and we're going to continue to find the people that it works for. But even in having conversations with other agents, and some people would be like, well, why do you want to have a conversation with other agents regularly? Exactly what you said. Eventually that will lead to a contract. Someone that I'm talking to in Texas may have a buyer coming to Wisconsin. They're going to think of me before they think of someone who's just a stranger, through their brokerage or through the internet or whatever, versus, someone who they've talked with and are in their group and are learning from and sharing best practices and tips. So yes, it's not something that's like an instant overnight kind of thing, but just making genuine connections with people is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And the more people you talk to, the higher the chance of that happening. So
yeah, relationships. It's all about relationships.
Yep.
That's it. Who comes top of mind? Who, when you walk into a room, Harris and I were talking about, he bought all these different domains for the area and the cities that we serve. And I'm like, wouldn't it be so cool? It's always been the vision to have this one page that is completely dedicated to this town, and it becomes the trusted community source of information and things to do. And then with search engine optimization, it's going to rank number one. And who's there all the time? Me, you, the person that's doing it. Promise from God is if you don't do it, you won't get it. So hats off to you for putting that energy out there. What resistance are you feeling, or what are some things that you feel you might need to adjust out there right now with what you're doing or the approach?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer that kind of differently, but I've had a lot of people interested in, I started a podcast called Fondy Famous, which is a locally based podcast featuring businesses, nonprofits, people making a difference in historic homes in our community. And so that in itself has really grown, and I've committed to doing them weekly. And I love that. I think it's great. I think it's very powerful. It's helping me grow very quickly because I'm using sphere hacking, and I'm really trying to make this podcast into a thing so that it's of value to my community. That's the purpose. I don't want 12 people to see it and be like, that's okay. I want people in our area to see it and think, wow, now I know of a new business, or let me just see what Kelly says about this business, or just being that source like you had suggested. Excuse me. But I've had a lot of people interested in duplicating that. And I absolutely hands down recommend that you do that. Be the digital mayor of your town, as Gary Vee says, be the media company, go along those lines. But I'm doing it at a weekly basis, and it is not sustainable to do that at a weekly basis for most agents. I have a unique ability. I have an amazing editing team, which is Explore My Town with you, obviously. And then I also have a couple of people helping me behind the scenes. I don't know that every agent could do that. I talked with another girl who's implementing, she's not doing a podcast, but she's doing something similar in getting herself out there. And we discussed a realistic schedule for her was every other week to do something. So twice a month, essentially. And I think just making sure that you know to adapt to what you can commit to, because the worst thing you could do is say, hey, I'm going to do this weekly. And then it's 2 months into the year and you're doing it once a month. That's a bad luck. Whereas me, I committed to doing once a month once a week, and I'm about that. But I also put the systems in place to back that action up. I just would hate for anyone to see what I'm doing and think that it would be easy to just jump in and do that. It's not. I have a huge team and just balance in place. So, but thankfully I've got like the SOPs, and I'm trying to implement ways to make it easier for everyone. But that would be what I would suggest for anyone asking. Any struggles that I'm personally facing, I haven't had a lot of resistance. As you'd asked, a lot of businesses are really just on board because they see the value. I'm not putting anything out there that is negative. Everything about this is positive or documents the reality of it in a truthful way, but not a negative way, if that makes sense. Like I've even shared rejection, but that wasn't bad or sad. It was just how it was.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a lot of resistance. I think the biggest thing is I'm just making sure I have the systems in place to do it properly and maintain it, and keeping it a positive and valuable thing, making sure people understand the message behind it.
You just said something.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, I reference this all the time because it's quite frankly one of my favorite pieces of advice anybody ever gave me. And it came from a shark. One of the sharks on the Shark Tank.
All right. Is it Mr. Wonderful?
No. Kevin Harrington.
Okay.
Kevin's nice. And I had the opportunity to meet him. I think it was 2016 because my mentor at the time invited me to an investor camp in rural Connecticut. It's a couple hours north of New York City. There were venture capitalists there. People as far away from India, entrepreneurs from India came to learn, meet mentors, get the opportunity to present. And, I forget how many people got to present on the big stage. But everybody, it was like Shark Tank where things were whittled down into, the finalists, and they got to present to the VCs. And anyways, I got to meet Kevin, listen to his presentation, just me and my mentor, because my mentor, I'm not going to say his name, but he is very important in the Wall Street and the financial worlds, was uberly important. Was actually on Bill Clinton's economic board of advisors, right? So smart guy, ex-CFO of a huge mutual fund company and financial company. So he invites me in, and Kevin Harrington said, this is advice. If you take anything away from this meeting or from this conversation, master leverage, and you master business. And he went on to tell me he used to have up to 300 employees. He says, you know how expensive 300 employees are with the taxes and all the liability. I know how expensive 7 are. And so I can't imagine 300. He goes, I can get work done faster and cheaper. I only have 23 employees now. I can get work done faster and cheaper because of the gig economy. And if I don't like you, I get somebody new. If I don't need you, I don't pay for you. I pay per job. And that's the whole Upwork and the Fiverr world, right? That's the Uberization of the world. And so what you're doing is mastering leverage. And I think anybody needs to do that. Everybody wants to do it. They underestimate how much work it does take. It does take a fair amount of work, but you can do it as long as you have a plan, put it in your schedule, and execute, right? But if you are going to just, I signed up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you're going to burn out quickly because you don't actually have any rhyme or reason to the process or the purpose. So it would behoove anybody can do anything that we're talking about, because you know what? Humans help you do it. So anybody can do it. You just have to decide. And then even that, we have partners at Explore My Town who pay us every month who don't make any videos. It's bewildering. Maybe they get busy, maybe whatever. But I want everybody to understand that in our industry and in human nature in its own, it's really easy to say you want to do it. just like the first of the year is coming up. Everybody's going to be, I'm quitting drinking. I'm going on a diet. And then come about January, I don't know, 18th, all those resolutions are out the window. So you can have all the intentions in the world. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Okay. Unless you have a plan, unless you have truly more so than a plan is desire. If you want to do this because you're going to get this big windfall, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you do this because you want to contribute and give back to the community and position yourself as that type of person, then you will win. But it takes time. It takes patience. I want to tell a quick story. I told this story earlier. I'm going to tell it again because I like this story. Doing videos for the Kennebunkport, Kenny Bunk, and Arundel. Chamber of Commerce commented on one of my videos because I was at a restaurant called Bandaloop, which is a phenomenal restaurant, and they have lots of vegan options too. My family, we meet there probably 3 times a year. I have my sister and brother-in-law, her husband, they're vegans, so we try to find a place that can accommodate everybody. The food was so magnificent there. So magnificent. I did a video on it. Chamber of Commerce commented on it. They also commented on a video I did for a barbecue place called Smoke, who, by the way, is open for lunch now, and they have burnt ends, so I'll probably have to go back. And so I started to engage in conversation with them. Next thing you know, I'm invited to a meeting. I met a lady, Deb. Deb was the business developer for a tour company, a local tour company. They gave me a couple of complimentary tours. From there, I met the owner of the company. Harrison interviewed her. I went ahead and she asked if I could do a project for her. I said, just come on to the studio. I'll record you on the green screen. I'm looking at the green screen right over there. And then we'll superimpose your presentation on that. She loved it. She was ecstatic. I coached her all the way through the whole thing. And then she uses that. She deals in the travel industry, so she's able to use this beautiful presentation out there. She reached out to me just recently, asked me if I would help produce a commercial for her business, offered to compensate me, offered to give me free tours and complimentary tours for clients and stuff. I said, I don't need a thing from you. Only thing I need from you, and the stipulation that I have to do this for you, is that you make an endorsement video for me. The reason I did that is because she is uberly connected in our area. So when everybody sees her saying, listen, you got to contact my boy, Johnny Moe, if you're looking for any real estate in the greater Portland, Southern Maine area. He is amazing. He's caring, and he'll put your best interest first. How powerful is that? I can't buy that video. So the $300 to $400 that you wanted to pay me, I'd rather take the video. And so this relationship is like, absolutely, I'd be thrilled to do that. We're going to collaborate. She introduced me to the people that run the tourism bureau in the area. She has we got dozens of ideas that we're going to work and collaborate on together. And so my point of all this is relationships are important, but none of them come to you in this manner unless you do the work. She opens doors because of who she is. And I just walk in and smile. Hi, I'm with Pam. Right? But that's all because I put videos out. I made the connection. The good energy kept coming as a result of doing the work. And what got all that going was TikTok videos, not even the nice Explore My Town videos, TikTok videos that I edit on this thing. Anybody can do what we do. You just have to do it. You have to press that red button. That's it.
I agree. I think it's just incredible that you have that opportunity that you earned by showing exactly what you do and just maintaining that relationship. And then they reached out and now you're going to take that to the next level. The endorsement thing. And I think you had mentioned just a suggestion for me for my videos to do that. And what a powerful tool. And especially using the gal from the chamber, like chef's kiss, because what else could you do? You know, that's just like the absolute best scenario. That in itself is more valuable than so many other things that she had offered you, even though they were great. But her endorsement, that'll get you in some places.
It will. And that's all I want. I'm here real estate to me, not just real estate, marketing, business, brand building. See, I'm building a brand. It's called Explore Maine Life, right? And I'll be able to bring partners in from all around my great, beautiful, big ass state. I'm not going to Bangor. I'm not going to Waterville. I'm not going to Bar Harbor and Mid Coast and those areas, but I can bring people in and attract leads to those areas and refer those out. They can then take a chapter over and start to build that up. But it all starts with that one optimized page that people are seeing these instrumental people on. Right. So at the core of it all is to help small businesses stand out in the community, position ourselves as a leader. Now, if I'm just Johnny Moe, who wants to buy my database because I'm retiring, there's somebody out there that might give you a little bit of shekels for it. There's somebody out there that might give you referrals or something like that for it. But I can promise you that that is few and far between. However, now if I have this entire digital ecosystem and I can show you that I get 10,000 visitors per week, and we get 86 organic leads per month, and this particular system generated $12 million in sales. It's all trackable. It's right here. Now, all of a sudden, let's just use 10 million. 10 million, all of a sudden I can say this particular ecosystem generates $250,000 a year. The way the world works is that has a multiplier to it. I could sell that off for $750,000. Who's buying your freaking Zillow Up Boss now? Right. Why? Because you got a bunch of names in there? No, it's about the brand. It's about the following. We're in real estate. Stop thinking like a real estate agent about the next sale. Start thinking like an entrepreneur. Start positioning yourself as that community leader, and you will build a brand that is trusted and valuable.
Yep. And it opens so many doors. Even with me doing this, I've had conversations with people you would just not necessarily expect or even realize you wanted to have. The people that have reached out to me about what I'm doing, similar to you, didn't quite get the deal that you got there, but someday, it's incredible. And like you said, just being in that position of being the leadership and the trusted, valued person just takes you so far. That in itself gives you such leverage.
I have a mortgage friend of mine. We'll mention no names when we're talking shade. I have a mortgage friend of mine, and I give him all the credit in the world because he's there making the videos. He's hired a videographer. The person comes in, records the videos. He's putting them out there. Hardcore, lots of it. And they're great. I watch them all because they're very informative. This program, that program, this change, that change. I think as real estate agents, we need to stay in tune with these changes because I do believe understanding the mortgage process is a critical task of ours to have in our toolbox. We must have that.
Yep.
But he's got like 252 followers and minimal engagement. You know why? Because it's the right message in the wrong place. Right? So what are you going to, another more, right? So people are going to peel past it. But when I say, oh my God, gang, I was going to start my video this way, but I didn't. But when I can start a video like this, because I have started them, you know what, Maine? You know what, Portland? I'm mad at you right now. Matter of fact, I'm beyond mad. I'm pissed. I'm just kidding. Why did nobody tell me about this place? I think I just ate the most amazing thing that I have had in several months. This is a 10 out of 10 place that I just found, and I want to share it with you. See, that's Congress Street. That's Water Street. That's Yard Perm Coffee. Did you know that in the back of Yard Perm Coffee is this little place that sells Vietnamese and Thai food, which from a takeout window called Little Pig? Come on, let's go take a look. Now, all of a sudden, you know what I mean? People are following me. They know I'm a real estate agent because I always do mention that, but I'm not trying to sell real estate. And I mentioned, everybody knows me as Explore Maine Life. Matter of fact, Pam said, oh my God, I told her, I said, I will do this video with you. I'll even put it out on my social medias. She goes, oh, are you kidding me? That's so awesome. You have the best social medias, the biggest reach and everything else like that. I want to tell everybody, I launched my first video on this platform of Explore Maine Life in December of last year. So hasn't even been a full year yet. And I have win after win after win happening. I have one of the top ranking YouTube channels. Hell, one of the top ranking TikTok channels in our area. As a result of these videos, it's leading to other opportunities and a bunch of opportunities that are coming for the next year. Why? Because it's allowing me to have conversations. Again, I come back to it. Conversations equal contracts. You've got to have those conversations and stay on top of people.
Absolutely. And you're doing a great job of it. I love it. I love seeing your content.
Thank you. And you know something though, Kelly?
Hmm.
When you stop telling the story stops getting told. So you got to continually do it. Otherwise, it just goes away.
I agree.
All right. Well, we're at 30 minutes. We're only supposed to be at 30 minutes. Give me a piece of advice or something that's important for somebody right now, a word of encouragement, whatever, and finish it with how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. So this is from my grandpa, and I don't know the exact phrase that he used, but essentially the only person responsible for your life and anything going on is you, right? So other people may do awful things or good things, it doesn't matter, but the only person that you can hold accountable is you. So someone does something, either positive or negative, you're only in charge of your actions, and that is where you can control it. And once you realize that, you really do have such a good potential and outlook, because you understand you can't fix them, but you can fix yourself and you can better yourself. So that would be my piece of advice from my grandfather. You can find me. I'm the Kelly Northley on Facebook, and then Kelly Northley on everything else, Instagram and TikTok. And Facebook. So would love to have you follow me. I'm documenting everything I'm doing. So,
and that's Kelly spelled normally and Northley, Northlee.
yep.
I love everything that your grandfather said. And as you were saying it, I want to read a poem
Okay.
that I wrote yesterday. I've
right.
only shared it with 2 people and my 2 children and my children. So 4 people, but I shared it with 2 people. And I shared it with who I also shared the ChatGPT analysis of it, which I won't go into, but I'm going to read this because it's powerful. I was prompted through my shadow work journal to write to one of the things to do was to write a poem to release stagnant energy, because I hit a creative block. I've already did the walk. I already touched the earth and grounded. I already did like 9 out of the 12 things. One of them was to write a poem. And this has been going through my head for weeks. And I said, okay, I'm going to write a poem. And this came right out. The tide comes, because I walk on the beach every day. The tide comes, the tide goes. Rising suns are sure to set just the same. Day after day, month after month, year after year. Cold or warm, the birds frolic quayside. Whether I bear witness or am just a passerby, the birds continue. Day after day, month after month, year after year. However, I ask, what is their purpose? Do they know? Do they even care? What changes? The birds do not. The tides do not. The sun, that does not. So then, why must I? Heavy is the gift of a conscious mind. Some may inject it's a curse. To not see the world as it was, rather to see it as it is. What I see will surely differ from you, but reflections from the pool allow me to see where darkness and light are one. However, the brightness is infinitely controlled by self. So your grandfather is 100% right. The hard work, you. Every problem in your life, you. Every good thing in your life, you. You are 1 billion% responsible for everything in your life. Truthfully, the only thing that you control is up here, which is your mind that engages your body into action. But if you don't have your mind right, your body doesn't get into action. Lethargy sets in, fear sets in, doubt sets in. It's all up here. So no matter what other people do to you, no matter what other people say to you, it's 100% upon your response, your actions, and your thoughts on how you're going to respond from it. In one of the Facebook groups I belong to, it's about stoicism. And it said, what is one sentence to end an argument? And my answer was, there is none. The way to end an argument is to end an argument.
Right.
The argument only ensues if I continue. If I stop, smile, and walk away, or in some cases, give you a hug, I'm not arguing. You're arguing with yourself. Therefore, the argument's negated. It's all upon your actions. Get into actions. If you need us, reach out to us at the Community Leader Facebook group. Come on in, ask us a question. Reach out to me at iamjohnnymo.com or reach out to Kelly at thekellynorthley.com. Kelly, thank you for being here. Everybody else, make it a great day. Peace out.